Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys we are doing an update of my Blue Eyes White Dragon deck. Now, a lot of you guys out there may be asking, well Seto, why are you doing an update of Blue Eyes White Dragon? Because didn't you just do one recently? Well, yes, that is true. However, I was playtesting with a different version altogether of Blue Eyes White Dragon recently. And then the ban list happened, and I was like, okay, I'll test this in the new meta just to get a sense of what people are playing, what people are doing, etc., etc. And that's the reason why. So a lot of things have changed because of the ban list, and some other things have changed because I've been playtesting different cards. So that's the reason I wanted to profile for you guys. Plus, I've been playing it in the meta, just trying to get a sense of what's going on, because so much has changed. So without further ado, let us get started. So we run 3 Blue Eyes White Dragon. Your standard ones, like I've told you guys forever, I've had these since I was a kid in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So these are my original Blue Eyes as I started off with as a kid. Took very good care of them. We run our 3 Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon. You guys should know what he does. Your level 8 Exceed plays, your popping cards, your Exceed fodder for level 8, your Synchro fodder, whatever. He does multiple different things. This is an amazing card in the deck. We run 2 Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Pretty standard in any Blue Eyes White Dragon deck. Some people I know, because of back row removal, I just like running him as a 1-of, which is fine, but I like him as a 2-of still in the deck because of trade-in fodder and different things he can do. So that's why we still run 2 Spirit in the deck. We also run your eggs, so your 3 Ancients, staple in any Blue Eyes deck, and your 1 White Stone of Legend, we still run in the deck. So that's the ratio I like. I've recently seen a couple guys out there running multiple White Stones for different reasons, they tell me, but I just prefer the 1 White Stone still in the deck, and the 3 White Stone of the Ancients I still run in the deck because it puts in a lot of work. So 3 Ancients. Like I was telling you, still, I'll admit, again, I've been playtesting a lot with, it just depends upon your hands, you know, like instead of going for in phase, waiting for the Blue Eyes to come out, sometimes I'm actually just automatically, if I have multiple trade-in in hand, I'm just banishing this and automatically using trade-in, so adding the vanilla Blue Eyes I sent to graveyard with Dragon Shrine or whatever. So going Dragon Shrine, sending the vanilla Blue Eyes, sending this, then banishing this, adding the Blue Eyes back to hand to use another trade-in. So if I have double trade-in, I used to be kind of like hesitant because I wanted a free special summon, but nowadays I've been finding myself really going for that second trade-in if that happens to me. But that's just me. Next we run your 3 Sage with the Eyes of Blue still in the deck. So I'm going pretty fast over this deck because you guys that are probably viewing this video, you guys probably know because all the Blue Eyes stuff has been out for forever now. So you guys should know the combos and the basic things you do for the standard any Blue Eyes deck out there. So Sage can search out your multiple different things. Your White Stone of Legend, your White Stone of the Ancients. I still run her in the deck. I may cut her, but she still puts in a lot of work for me. The Maiden with the Eyes of Blue, if you don't want to run her, fine. But she combos off with Sage, and believe me, with all the different cards I'm running in the deck nowadays, she has put in work for me. So I like the 1 Maiden. If you don't want to run her, fine. But she's bae for me. And we also run the 1 Effect Veiler because it's searchable negation. I run it as a 1-of because I can go Sage, this, and optimally sometimes I can have like a Spirit on board with a Solemn card in the back row and an Effect Veiler in hand, so I can negate one thing with a hand trap and I can stop something else with a Solemn card in the back row. That usually sets my opponent back, and I can then go off and kind of beat them down from there. So that's the ratio of the things you can search out with Sage. So your Stones and your Effect Veiler and Maiden. So for your 1-of Tekken cards, your 1 Effect Veiler, searchable, I would run it forever. 1 Maiden, because she comes in clutch. If she's dead in hand, I usually just pitch her with something. I should mention that this is a 42 card deck, so if you wanted to cut down the deck, you could make it 40 by cutting the Maiden and maybe some other stuff. But I wanted to run it at 42 because I am running Desires in the deck. If you don't like Desires and Blue Eyes, that's fine, but it works for me. We also run 1 card I've been trying out in the deck, and that's 1 Amorphage Goliath. Now, originally, I will mention, I was running Arc Brave in the deck. I was trying to cut down to the bare minimum of cards I would really need in the deck that work well. So how would the deck congeal, work together, function? So I tried Arc Brave Dragon in the deck, and it was cool, it was nice, but the problem I was having at the end of the day was there's a bunch of problems with Arc Brave. I love it, don't get me wrong, I love the card, but it was just causing me problems. So I love the Amorphage Goliath. So I was like thinking here, okay, I mean, I go Dark Matter, dump the Goliath, dump the Arc Brave, reborn this stuff. And I was like, yeah, that works, that's beautiful. But it took setup to get it optimally where I could go, like, because this can easily be kaiju'd away. I was having people kaiju it, wasting Dark Holes, Kaiju Slumbers, Regekis, you name it, this card ran right into it. It was a good stun card, but it ran into a lot of problems. So I found that it was just like a slow setup to get the stuff engraved, and it was like, well, I don't really want to go for Dark Matter. I want to go for a Hope Harbinger instead of this, but you know, yada, 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 you know. So you see what I'm trying to say here. Then the ban list came out, and Monster Reborn came off the ban list. So I decided, in my infinite wisdom, I guess you could say, to cut the Arc Brave out of the deck for Monster Reborn. Thus cutting, you know, because Monster Reborn can be used for anything in the deck, which is great. It can be used for just about anything. Wow, you know, even for my extra deck monsters, so Spirit Dragon, you know, anything I got engraved, that's great. While Arc Brave cannot, so I decided to go that route. So yeah, because originally I was playing around with 43 cards in the deck, and I was like, that's just too much. I was like, that's too much even for me, wanting, you know, even Desires in the deck. So I cut it down to 42, and I was like, okay, maybe 41. But then I found out when I was taking Maiden out, I was getting these very awkward hands of like, oh gosh, this is not what I need. Even if I have, you know, Ghost Ashes and Ghost Ogres and everything, I was like, this is still not an optimal hand. So I put Maiden back in the deck, and after that, the deck congealed and worked fine since. So, one Amorphage Goliath, no Arc Brave. You have multiple ways of bringing it back now, which is great. You also have the one Maiden and the one Effect Veiler. So that's my little tangent about Amorphage Goliath. But definitely, I like it in the deck as a one-of, no more. Then we run your search cards. You run your 3 Melody of the Awakened Dragon. I'm pretty happy because most of this deck I have Hollow now, which is kind of amazing, which is awesome too. So 3 Melody of the Awakened Dragon, staple card in the deck, always, always, always. It's also a discarding outlet, so you get benefits from discarding the card. We also run, oh, by the way, I'll always say this when I do a deck profile. I love this artwork. It's my favorite artwork in the entire deck. It's Lord of D rocking out on a Blue Eyes guitar. What's not cool about that? Your staple 3 trade-in in the deck. You have multiple targets for it. We also won the 1 Cards of Consonance as well in the deck. Works out well. Sage, Normal, add an egg, Cards of Consonance, pitch, draw 2, get an effect off. Works. So, however, I will admit, I don't know why. Maybe it's just I need to get new card sleeves because my cards are sticking together, I noticed. But this card's been getting dead a little bit more. Even when I was playing the deck at 40, I was kind of like, it's getting kind of dead here. But it's still good in the deck, and it does come in clutch. So I do like it as a one-of. If it's dead, I've been finding myself pitching it off Melody. So whatever. I don't like pitching it at all, but yeah. The way I'm playing the deck, I'm still trying to test things out. Mind you, in the new format with new cards coming out and everything off the ban list. So we got a lot of Reborn cards in the deck and a lot of ways to send dragons to grave now, thanks to the ban list. So we have your 3 Lord of the Dragon, Return of the Dragon Lords, and the 1 Silver's Cry. You only from now on, guys, need to run 1 Silver's Cry because you now have Monster Reborn. I've even seen some people and talked to some people about cutting the Silver's Cry out altogether and adding a Monster Reborn in the deck. You know, and that's all because Monster Reborn is definitely superior to Silver's Cry. However, Silver's Cry is just putting so much work for me still, even though Monster Reborn is back, that I do like the Silver's Cry in the deck. So depending upon your build of the deck of Blue Eyes, the standard version, you could run Silver's Cry. If you don't or you could not run Silver's Cry. It is up to you. So that's where we run there. For your Reborn cards, besides Monster Reborn and Soul Charge. For your cards, some discarding outlets, Dragon Shrine. I'm telling you guys, you got to run double Dragon Shrine because it helps set with all the Reborn cards we have now. You can easily set up for a Morphage Goliath. So you could be like, okay, well, send a Morphage Goliath from deck to grave. Okay, cool, Reborn. There you go. So double Dragon Shrine works well on the deck for stupid things you can do. So you can send a Vanellis and a Morphage Goliath if you have your Reborn card and a board already set up. Reborn it with Monster Reborn or some other means. And there you go. So 2 Dragon Shrine. For your 1-ofs, I do like 1 Twin Twister. I cut it down from 2-of to 1-of. I would say side deck the 2nd and 3rd Twin Twister or Cosmic Cyclone. Or if you really feel like you want to run it, you know, Anti-Spell Fragrance as well, you could easily side deck in this deck. Even though you are very spell oriented, you can go off and then set the Anti-Spell Fragrance, especially if you know you are going turn 1 against a Pendulum Dot deck. So you can do that, or you could run triple Twin Twisters in your, double Twin Twisters in your side deck, along with this Twin Twister. So it's up to you, but I just prefer 1-of because I'm not facing against a lot of back row at the moment. Granted, that may change as the meta develops and people maybe run more Torrentials and Mirror Force cards and Stun Variation decks, but I'm finding myself wanting to side deck those cards more than main deck. But I do like the 1 Twin Twister, but you can run Cosmic Cyclone as well. It's up to you. The 1 Desires, what do I desire? I desire to draw good cards and not banish good ones. So 1 Desires, multiple is too much for me in this deck, but 1 Desires is good. I run it at 52. Helps get a little bit of meat on the deck so I don't have to banish all good cards. The 1 Upstart Goblin, you can side deck it out, you can draw cards, whatever. It makes it 41 cards. People always question me, why do you run Upstart in a 42 card deck? Hey, who doesn't like drawing cards? I know I like drawing cards, don't you? Doesn't matter how thick the deck is. 1 Foolish Burial, this is another discarding outlet. And like I said, you have multiple Reborn cards in this deck. So you can be like, okay, send a bunch of dragons to the grave, reborn a bunch of dragons from the grave. So that works out well. So 1 Foolish Burial I like in the deck. It helps out with different things I'm trying to set to the deck. I've thought about cutting it because I don't run Arcbrave anymore, but it still helps out in the decks tremendously from playtesting. Your 1 Regeki in the deck, definitely a staple in the deck. You could take it out depending upon if you're going 1st or 2nd. It's a card you can side in or out. Your 1 Monster Reborn, guys, you run the Monster Reborn. Like, there's no reason not to run this card in the deck. You run Monster Reborn, hands down. And then your 1 amazing card in the deck, your 1 Sack Charge, as I call it. You run this in the deck. It helps you build unbreakable boards. What else is there to say about it? So 1 Sack Charge, 1 Soul Charge. For your trap lineup, now I'm going to mention this here. You could literally go take maybe 3 or 2 of these traps out and replace them with Ghost Ashes or whatever hand traps you desire. I did not know. I own Ghost Ogres, but I'm not kind of keen on Ghost Ogre at the moment in the meta. But if you have Ash Forehead, go ahead and run Ash Forehead with Ghost Ash instead of all these traps. But we'll talk about that now. So 1 Solemn Warning, 1 Solemn Judgment, and double Solemn Strike. So this is the ratio I like doing. Like I said, optimally I want to draw 1 of these in my opening hand if possible. I make a Spirit or have an Morphage Goliath on board, and I go, if I have a Morphage Goliath on board first turn and they don't get around it, my mindset then is to go into a beatdown duel. I bring out big dragons from my graveyard by reborning them, and then I just go into a process of punching your face in with big dragons while you can't go into your extra deck, and having Judgments and an Effect Veiler in hand to back it up in case you get an out somehow. So that's the way I like playing the deck right now, is a beatdown type of deck. But the strikes you could take out for, like I said, Ashes, and maybe take something else out for Ash Forehead if you own it, or if you want a side deck, you could side in and out evenly matched. That's another option you could have. I don't own them, but you could. The Judgment has been paying big dividends because, as you guys should know from playing Blue Eyes, if you've played it for any amount of time, you can make good boards, but you are easily susceptible to some degree from things like board wipes and things of that nature. I mean, not all the time, but you know, people can get around your board. It's not uncrackable unless you have like a crystal wing backed up by something, but Judgment can help out with that. And Warning is just Warning, and it's a good card. So I run the Solemn Brigade, as I call it right now. This is the way I'm playing the deck. If you own the good hand traps and, you know, evenly matches, take the deck in that direction. Play around with your ratios a little bit and your trap lineup, but that's up to you to decide. I'm just letting you guys know. But that lineup right there has been putting in work for me a lot more now. For your extra deck, we run our Fly Girls, as I call them, your one Skyla, your one Winona, and the one Dragonite. Yes, may the Dragonite bring us good luck. Again, we're using a dragon deck. So Dragonite, my favorite Pokemon next to Garchomp. Yes. So for your extra deck, we run double Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, double Azure Eyes, staple. Your one Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. I'm teching in and trying it out again because it's a different meta. I take them in and out depending upon the meta, but one Michael. You can run Michael or not run Michael. It's up to you. Your one Ancient Fairy Dragon because he did not get banned. And thank you, Konami. So I can use Ancient Fairy Dragon along with Crystal Wing Dragon to make stupid stuff. So yeah, Crystal Wing, you can easily go for that now. We also have your level 8, so we also have the Galaxy Eyes package, as I call it. So your one Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon, your one Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Dragon, and your one Galaxy Eyes number 95 Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon. So you run Dark Matter as well. For your generic level 8s, I run one Alcei, one number 68 Snaphold the Sky Prison. He puts in work. And one Hope Harbinger. You could run level 8s like Felgran and whatnot, especially with this meta being the way it is. I've even tried out, because I'm kind of making a control deck, is like maybe even running double Hope Harbinger again, like I used to years ago, like a long time ago, but still one is being useful. And then I always run, because in rogue matchups this guy puts in work, one Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. People don't like running it, and I understand, but in certain matchups it puts in work. So one Twin Burst. Actually, it helped me out last night. If I should admit, I went for that card because it was the only out my deck had, because he kept negating my stuff. So yeah, that is the deck in a nutshell, guys. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. It's a pretty good deck in this meta. And I'm going to say depending upon how the game develops and the meta develops, it may be a good rogue option to some degree. And the reason for that being is if pendulums are still viable, even after the ban list, which it's looking like they are, then this will be a good matchup against them. And you can use this in your locals, at least to top locals. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I was trying to be very meta relevant in this deck because, well, I know you guys like playing Blue Eyes for meta, and I love the deck to death, so why not try to give you the best information I can from doing detective work on this deck. So, hope you guys all enjoy this deck profile. Till next time, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling. I'll see all of you guys next time. Take care, everybody. Good luck dueling, and go Blue Eyes White Dragon.